Good day, good people. It's Amy from Savor Salvage Scent, and I hope this finds you well. For those of you who are new to the channel, this mostly focuses on all things perfume and fragrance related. For those of you returning, thank you so much for being part of the conversation, for often teaching me and for sharing great ideas and interests and ways to learn, etc. So for those of you who have not, I hope you'll consider either both giving this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content and clicking the red subscribe button if you haven't, so that we can stay in touch and you'll get notifications when I post things. So I'm going to dive right in. Today I want to talk to you about my Solstice Scents collection. I know a few of you have kindly asked to see my whole collection, and I'm grateful for that. I love this house so much. It is my favorite independent house. So I'm going to show you my actual collection and then talk about the experience I've had with the house and with the different scents. First, I would love to hear from you. Do any of you wear Solstice Scents? Are they new to you? Have you experienced them? If you have, I would love to know what you're wearing, what products of theirs that you enjoy. So please leave that in the comments below. Anyways, I will be expanding my collection over time, but I would love to hear about what is working for you and what you find interesting about the house. Just a quick mention. I have been going through some health challenges, and I would just say life challenges in general. And so I apologize if I'm a little irregular about my posting right now. But this is something that gives me true joy, and couldn't wait to get back to. One of the things I've been experiencing is chronic migraines. And I have not been wearing perfume for about 10 days, which was so strange for me. I mean, even when I'm normally, just if I have an illness of some sort, perfume is something that I very much look forward to. So it's been strange not to wear it. But it's also been wonderful to kind of reapply today and yesterday. And Solstice Scents was, of course, one of the first things I went to because I love them so much, and they make me feel like me. So let me tell you a little bit about the house. And first, let me tell you a little bit about the house, and then I'll actually show you my collection, and then I'll talk through some of the things that I love. So first, they are out of the U.S. They are out of Gainesville, Florida. The area of Gainesville, Florida. I'm not sure if they're in that exact town, honestly. The nose's name and proprietor's name is Angela St. John, and she owns and runs this business with her husband. She is just incredible. They started, I think, almost 20 years ago now. I want to say like 2003, 2004. I'm going to link a Saffler Bon article about them. And actually, there's quite a few interviews with them, or with her at least, through Saffler Bon, which is a wonderful, for those of you who aren't aware, wonderful perfume kind of learning tool or resource online. So I'll click or link one of the interviews with her below that I think talks a lot about the house. But in general, she grew up in Gainesville, which is a very just interesting, my parents lived there for a while, and it's a beautiful, these are my words, kind of mystical, I don't know if they would call a forest or hammock area, but it's a lot of cypress and a lot of trees and kind of cypress groves. And it's very tropical in some ways, very foresty, a lot of pines and cypress and things like that. And just, I find it to be a very mystical, beautiful place. Very much, I mean, you are just enveloped in nature. And I think that's one of the things that comes out in her scents. But my understanding is she had and continues to have an interest in like natural kind of healing remedies. And that turned into her kind of experimenting with and making, I believe when they kicked off the house or opened the house, it was mostly focused on kind of body care. And they still make some body care products, which I absolutely adore, and they're a steal. But I think a few laters then started to get more and more interested, or at least started to make more perfumes. And my understanding is she works with all kinds of elements, but she even creates some of her own elements. For instance, I know that she's been involved in like doing effleurage and some other things around, I want to say gardenia or magnolia. And anyways, is just so from beginning to end of the process interested and involved. So another thing that I will say really stands out about the house is, I'll be honest, years ago I had tried some handmade oils and perfumes, and I was a little reluctant at first because some of the things I was experiencing were made poorly. This was kind of in my youth. And they just smelled, I like the smell of like a hippie shop or head shop, but they would always just smell like that. And then, I don't know, they just didn't, there wasn't a breadth and a depth. And in some other houses where I've tried oils, they just haven't always worked for me. So I kind of stuck my toe in the water about, I don't know, 3, I think, years ago now with Solstice Scents. I learned about them on Sarah May's channel. And I was really blown away just by the artistry, the quality, the thoughtfulness. Their packaging is incredible. And I mean, like, it's really protected when they send it to you, but it's also like they include really beautiful cards and kind of marketing around their work, and then often they're signed, you know, and they thank you for buying. I mean, it's a thoughtful, intimate kind of process. But what stands out in the end, of course, was the quality of the perfume and the products. And I'm going to show you, I'll say one more thing. Something, I feel like they've grown to be known for their mastery around gourmand scents. And I actually, to my surprise, looking at my collection, a lot of what I have is gourmand. I was kind of surprised because I like a lot more than gourmand, but they do it very well. And they really are interested in kind of, here's an example of what I find artistic or interesting or unique. When they make gourmands, they're often not just sugary or not just cake, or they often juxtapose really interesting things together. So maybe something sugary with incense, or stuff that smells truly like the earth or the ground. Or really, they're amazing at resins and incense. And if you like those kind of 70s, 80s ambers, resins, and then more modern incense, things like that, oh my gosh, they're a dream. They're also really, really amazing at hyperrealism. So like and hyperrealism in, like, I would say environmental or creating like an experience. What I mean by that is a lot of their scents are created around a fictitious town and let's say, different people or buildings or experiences you might have in that town. So one scent might smell like an old manor, another scent might smell like an old campground there and the fire involved. Another scent might smell like a kitchen from the person's house and everything that you would find in that kitchen, or a witch's cottage, so on and so forth. But just really, really interesting. So I'm going to show you, and sorry for I'm just going to say I have poor camera skills. I'm going to show you my collection quickly, and then I am going to talk through them. So I hope this works. So this is my collection. Hopefully you can see that. Sorry for my poor skills here. I have, okay, so a great way to get started with Solstice Scents, and I will link their website below, are sampler sets. So a few years ago, I just, blind buying, I'm not against it at all. I have had to do it for years, but it's great. On their website, you can get sampler sets of 5 or 10 perfumes. And they look like they come in these beautiful little books. And then inside, they add the little samples. And if you buy anything from Solstice Scents, they add a sample with each order. And so in this case, there's 6 samples in the booklet. And then, anyways, you can see I have quite a few samples, and I've actually given away quite a few as I've gained full bottles, because I love them and I try to share their scents with people. But I will say these opinions are all my own. I absolutely have paid for the things I've experienced through Solstice Scents, and I couldn't be happier. Great investment. Sorry, I'm going to turn this music down a little bit. George Benson suddenly has gotten a little louder. Okay, so these range from, I want to say like $15 to $25-ish dollars. And it's such a great way. And everybody, I feel like, who I've talked to about Solstice Scents, when they first start to order, are like almost overwhelmed. There are so many interesting choices on their website. And while I say that they do, you know, gourmands and ambers and resins and incense phenomenally, they do everything well. So anyways, you'll see their website is kind of broken into categories of different kinds of scents. And so I'm going to talk for a minute about what their different products are, and I'm going to share with you more. So this is a great way to start to get an idea of the scents, but they have different products for different scents, if that makes sense. Okay. So, in addition to the samples, as their products, they have 5 milliliter oil perfumes. I think these are extracts. Anyways, they're a really nice quality, and they range from like $16 to $20, I would say. I find some of these, anyways, they're wonderful. And I don't know if you can see, their illustrations are on everything. They're just beautiful. And these are cobalt blue bottles. So you can start there. Some people only wear oils, and those are a really nice, affordable option. They also have, I forgot to grab them, and I definitely have them. They have like a whipped soap that come in these beautiful containers, and I find them to be very economical. I want to say low to mid-teens, and they're so good, you guys. They're so emollient without being overly oily, and they're wonderful. I probably have 4 or 5 of those. Well, I should have included them. Apologies. They also have these, what they call burnishing glaces. For those of you who are involved in the kind of art market or sector, you'll know that burnishing is a type of art act. But these burnishing glaces basically are, in my words, a body spray that have a very high oil and perfume content. I think they're incredible. Just such a wonderful, these to me are as good as perfumes, honestly. These range from, I want to say $15 to $20. And they're just so good. And again, another way to kind of get to know a scent if you don't want to invest in a more expensive perfume. And then their perfume alcohol-based sprays, I believe they're all alcohol-based. I believe they're 2 ounces, they're in these beautiful frosted bottles, and they range from, I want to say like 70 to 100, maybe 120 for just a few, but most of them I would say are in the 80 to 90 range, which is, I think, pretty darn good for a niche, high quality, incredibly unique, fabulous perfume. They do have sales sometimes. I would say, this is my guess, she might correct me, a few times a year. And especially if they're moving stock or transitioning, some of those things will go on sale. So look out for that as well. All right, so I'm going to talk to you about the scents in my collection and some of my favorites. I do want to preface this by saying, and I know that this is sometimes on our minds when we listen to perfume videos, but this is, of course, relative to me and my taste. So, you know, it's interesting because, okay, first, as a marker or kind of proof point of how much I love this house, I have never sold back one of their scents. And that is weird for me because, like, as a collector of perfumes, reviewer of perfumes, we just can't keep everything. It's a lot, right? And so I would say, sell about 30% of my collection every year. And while there might be a couple things that I'll deaccession in the future, for the most part, the way I feel about their house is even if it's not like a dead on love for me and something that I find wearable every day, it's still an incredible artistic creation. I feel this way about Serge Lutens as well. Like, I just, you know, even if they're not exactly for me, they're so artistic and interesting and beautiful that you just almost have to respect it. Like, it's amazing. And so, and if I look at all the houses that I love, including Guerlain, which is my favorite, people call it a niche house, but I don't know if that's quite right to me. But anyway, for a huge house, it's, you know, one of the first. I deaccession Guerlain all the time. So like, I just think it's not, what should I say, a feasible idea for somebody deeply into perfume to like every single perfume, even from a house that they love. But I'm telling you, they probably have the highest record for me, Solstice Scents. So, but I will say it's still relative. There are scents that, for instance, there are a few that I find more challenging that I might deaccession, but it's so interesting because some of those few have actually been really talked about a lot recently. And, you know, so it's different strokes for different folks. And I think whatever they do it well. So this is really about like what lane is yours. So you will look at their website and see that they do a really great job of categorizing to kind of help describe to you, you know, what might fit in your lane or not. So, all right. I'm first going to talk about the perfumes because I think it just gives a really good idea of the ones that I have loved the most. I have never purchased a perfume full bottle from Solstice Scents that I haven't tried before. So these are all the ones that I had to have after testing samples or oils. All right. So I'm going to start with one of my most recent purchases, actually two. This is called Lace Draped Specter. Specter. I keep saying that. Sorry, guys. This is one of the most beautiful. So one of the things I love about the house is, again, they take chances. And Carnation is considered outdated in the perfume community right now, which makes me so sad. It's one of my favorite notes, probably because my dad wore Old Spice all the time growing up. I don't know. And some of the great heavy-hitting kind of female marketed perfumes were also very Carnation drenched growing up, and I loved that. I don't know why it's been considered out of style now, but Solstice Scents makes some fabulous Carnation scents. They're not afraid to use it. So this is, again, Lace Draped Specter, and this, I would describe, it's much, much more than this, but it is a candied, vanillic, marshmallowy Carnation. It has a little bit of clove. You know, sometimes, is it eugenol, I think, is the chemical that's in clove and in Carnation and some other things. I think tree bark, maybe even. But this has some of that, I would say, effect of cloviness, but not super strong. Like, sometimes I feel like people feel that Carnation will only fit in the winter or around the winter holidays because of that cloviness or that spiciness. It has some of this in Lace Draped Specter, but I find this to mostly be very vanillic, marshmallowy with like a roundness from the Carnation. And it is absolutely, like, flip your wig gorgeous. It's phenomenal. So Lace Draped Specter. New to me, I have not worn this enough to really tell you too much about it, is Estate Carnation. I've been trying to get my hands on this for a long time. I will say, if you like something on Solstice Scents site, or if you're interested, at least order a sample when you can, only because things come and go. And that is, to me, part of what makes the site or the house special. These are made in limited batches. This is not a huge corporation, y'all. They make these in small batches. And sometimes when it sells out, it's gone forever, because not so much because of them, but because you all probably, a lot of you know that chemicals are essentially policed and taken off the market every, I think, is it 6 months or a year? And so sometimes when they run out of a batch of something, they can't recreate that exact scent again. So while I would say most of the things I own today, they still have in their site, there are a few that are gone, or sometimes they'll bring things back too. So this is Estate Carnation. And I was saying that their perfumes range from like 70 some to like 120. The Estate scents tend to be a little higher typically. But I think because they have, anyways, notes or elements that are probably more expensive. But this is the Estate Carnation, where the last carnation I talked about was kind of a candied marshmallow carnation. Oh, this is so good. This is more of like obsession and opium had a baby with a modern perfume that had a deep resiny incensey carnation. I'm sure she could talk about it much better, but that is what I get from this so far from just a few wearings. I can't wait to wear it more. So those are the 2 carnation scents I had to grab when they were available again. Oh gosh, this I purchased, I think this last spring or summer. This is called Nightgown. This is one of the most buttery, fleshy, lactonic white florals I've ever smelled. I can't remember if it's tuberose. I think it's tuberose. I think there are some other white florals, maybe gardenia, I'm not sure. It is, if you like white florals, and this has a hint of a gourmand nature, not in that there's like a really strong marshmallow note or something, but because some white florals have that lactonic, milky quality to begin with, and they catch it. Almost smells like butter in some ways to me. So this is Nightgown. It is phenomenal. Okay. Oh, this was my first love. I don't know if you can see, this is just a couple years old and I make quite a dent. And also I went through a bottle of oil before I got to this. So just know that. Okay. So incense isn't for everybody. It can be considered old school. I love incense. And this to me is one of the, and I mean this in the sweetest, most affectionate way, one of the weirdest incense and most interesting out of the box. It's called Solstice Kyphi. Kyphi is a really, really old way of making incense. And I believe it sometimes has things like more food-like elements, things like honey, raisins, fruits. This smells Solstice Kyphi. I mean, please don't even make me stop smelling it. It's so good. I love a raisin note in perfume. And I just have to say, like, dried fruits, raisins. I don't know if it's dates, raisins. It's raisins for sure, but I don't know if it's dates. Other dried fruits comes through in the scent for me, which I love. This is sticky, syrupy. So if you've ever encountered, I'm not sure what part of Asia, but an Asian, what's the word, kind of reliquary in a restaurant, or a, what's the word, a temple, or a little, there will often be not only incense burning and things that you would find maybe in church, but you will also find food offerings, and that is what comes through in Solstice Kyphi for me. You get a little of the smoke too, but it's not just smoky. This is, to me, one of the most gorgeous, and it smells like honey to me too. It is syrupy, beautiful. Oh my God, if you love incense and a little sweetness or honey, this is it. This is, yeah, anyways, I could not get it. I wore this like crazy last winter. So Solstice Kyphi. This to me is not as, it's phenomenal. This is called Witch's Cottage. This is not a fan favorite for everybody. I freaking love it. This also, you can see there's quite a dent in this bottle. This is just in a year. Witch's Cottage smells not only like the hearth that you would get in the kitchen of the cottage, let's say. So you've got a little bit of, ash smoke. But you've also got things perhaps baking in the oven, but this is not so gourmand. It's not super wearable. But you've also got things like herbs, and one of them is Sweet Annie. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a, I'm sure if it's considered a flower or an herb, but it grows where I live in Ohio, and it's really prolific, kind of like not only growing in the summer, but also was often sold in big bunches of like flowers and herbs at fall festivals when I was growing up. And that is what this smells like. It's herbal without being just green. It is got a little bit of that hearth stuff going on, and even a little gourmand quality all mixed together. So I don't find this quite as wearable year round. This to me centers as a fall winter scent. It might not for some, but for me it does. So that is Witch's Cottage. And then last in my perfume, so I have, let's see, 6 of the perfumes. This is Conjure. Oh. So a lot of people would not find this wearable only in the fall and winter. I wear it year round because I freaking love incense. But this to me is a very toasty, incensey vanilla. There's more to it than that, but that is what I get. It is, to me, a perfect vanilla. But you could call it a perfect incense, too. It's phenomenal. All right, Conjure. So those are all my big perfumes. Those are the ones that have risen to the top, right? I'm going to talk to you quickly about my Burnishing Glaces, which are the sprays, and then I'll quickly just kind of name the oils. So in Burnishing Glaces, I have this in the Burnishing Glace and the oil for like heavy hitting power. This is Corvin's Apple Fest. This to me is one of the most beautiful. I get vanilla more than even apple, but it has a beautiful apple note, and it's not, I find often apple to be screechy in modern perfumes, and it is just so round and gourmand and beautiful. I don't get a lot of pastry in this, which I actually like. So Corvin's Apple Fest, it's really more about like apples and baked apples, and then maybe a little bit of the air, and I get a ton of vanilla in this. And I have the oil as well. I love it. I also have the Burnishing Glace and Witch's Cottage, which we already talked about, which is so good. This one is kind of new to me. I haven't worn it enough yet. This is called Coquina. I got this for myself and my best friend because she's really, really into aquatic and kind of like beachy scents. And I think this is really interesting because it's got that salty kind of beachy, I need to remind myself, wow, it really does have a seawater without being obnoxious element. It's got, I hope I remember correctly, I don't have the notes in front of me, I feel like lemon or orange flower. It's definitely got a little bit of maybe a suntan vibe, but it's really more suntan lotion vibe. It's really a lot of sea air too. So I find this a very, very unique aquatic scent. For those of you who don't know, I have trouble with aquatic scents. They often smell overly clean to me, or the C note is hard to do without it just smelling like nasty. But they do a great job with this. So this is Coquina. I need to wear it more though. I haven't had a lot of experience with it. So another of the Burnishing Glaces is Manor. I have Manor in the oil and this Burnishing Glace. Some of you who know Solstice Scents will own or know Manor. Manor has gotten a lot of press because it's a really great, I think, affordable for what it is. It's a very woody vanilla. It smells basically like the wood of an old house and some vanilla. I think it's oud actually too, although it's not, I do not find it to be skanky or hard to wear oud. This is actually one of my easiest to wear scents, and I layer it with a lot of things. So Manor. Another Burnishing Glace that I'm almost out of, I don't know if you can see, is Chiffon. This to me is a perfect, it truly smells like lemon chiffon cake. Not so pastry or cakey that it's hard to take, but it's like, oh, this is one of the best. It does, I mean, lemon chiffon or orange chiffon cakes were popular when I was a little kid. You don't see them very much anymore. But imagine a angel food cake, but with lemon or orange instead. And that's basically what you get with this. It is so beautiful. Maybe a little bit of herb. I can't remember if it's lemon verbena or what. And then another that I have gone through a lot of this year, about halfway through, is, don't judge me, Pumpkin Spice Latte. For those of you who haven't seen my other video about this, a lot of people will be like, oh, pumpkin spice is so overdone. And I agree, like in everything, in desserts and everything, scents, candles, oh my God. Often they don't even smell like the thing. This smells like the best roasted coffee. It smells like you're actually in a coffee house with a little bit of like candied pumpkin flesh and the most wonderful spices. I don't know if it's cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeg. It's probably nutmeg, but so good in the fall. I wore this basically all through October. All right, quickly I'm going to go through the oils. I'm not going to tell you everything about them, but I did kind of group them because I don't want to make you crazy. This is a long video already. Sorry, y'all. So Library is one of my favorite experiential scents by them, and it literally, for those of you who are book nerds like me, it smells like old paper, old walls, old building, somehow still smells nice. Not as wearable, I think, as a signature scent, but man, does this smell like what it is. It's incredible. I like to layer this with other things too, or if I just want to kind of go back to my memories of being in the library. Library, it's great. All right. We talked about Manor, wonderful woody vanilla, and a recent acquisition is called Maplewood Inn. This is maple leaves. Oh, and wood. This smells so much like my dad's shop growing up. He was an industrial arts teacher. Man, does that smell good. Okay, that's a newer one for me. Next, Winter Dove. This is a phenomenal Carnation scent that is more clovey, still sweet, rounded and gourmand. This smells just like a bunch of spicy like the spiciest carnations mixed with like maybe some some creaminess, maybe from like creamed coffee or dessert. I don't know. It's got some nutmeg in it for sure. I bought a backup of this. I love it so much because I don't think it's available in the perfume, just the oil. Winter Dove. Well, there are two I'm going to talk about that are kind of like floral and sweet and wonderful. One is Rose Custard Kulfi. If you haven't had Kulfi, it's wonderful Indian dessert, lactonic, kind of like ice cream. I don't think it's always frozen, but anyways, it smells like that and rose mixed. I'm not always a fan of rose. They do rose really well though. So that's a gorgeous kind of, like I was talking about those juxtaposition scents. The Kulfi mixed with the rose is just so good. We talked about Witch's Cottage. So I won't talk about that. One thing that she does really well, I mean, among many, is creating marshmallow scents. You'll see that she has quite a few. And they're kind of in different categories because, again, that juxtaposition thing. One is called Violet Mallow. For those of you who love violet scents, this is a must. It smells like Choward's violet candy mixed with a glass of, I don't know, custard or milk. It's so freaking good. And a little marshmallow, of course. Another is Snowmint Mallow. I don't have as much experience with this. I just got it last winter. But it is a nice, without being overbearing, minty marshmallow with vanilla. So good. And then, I love this, and my best friend loves it too. This is Black Mallow. It smells like black licorice and marshmallows combined. This is for me, and I know some of y'all will come for me for this. This is what I wanted pink sugar, or they used to have a black version or a blue version to be. It's so good. So good. Black licorice and marshmallow. That comes in and out though. It's super coveted when they get it. Another grouping, let's see. Oh, these are some just, I think, really sweet ones, but phenomenal. This is called Sycamore Chai. This is the closest thing I've ever smelled to a cup of chai. You get everything. You get the cream, the spice, even the warmth from it. It's so good. If I had all the money in the world, I would buy a full bottle of that. I have a oil of Corvin's Apple Fest, which we talked about. Sweet and wonderful. Smokewood Apiary. Okay, if you like honey, this is a must. I have read, people have talked about this being as good or, as zoologist bee. It is all aspects of the hive in here. You get even a little funk from the hive, and to me, it is so freaking phenomenal. But mostly sweet honey, wax, maybe even a tiny bit of floral from, what bees bring to the hive, and then a tiny bit of funkiness from, you think about like the resinous nature of a hive. it's all there, and it's to me, this is one of the best things ever. If you like honey, that is just a sure thing. All right, now getting a little more experimental, I would say. This is Crimson, Sap, and Sassafras. I love root beer scents. If you like, let's say, Hypnotic Poison, but you want something a little smokier and a little more root beer, this is it. I don't find this to be wearable every day. It's strong. It does have a bit of a head shop quality, but in a way that I like. And then you've got this root beer sassafras smell that's like a... God, how do you describe sassafras? It's a lot like that root beer smell. It is so good, y'all. But stronger, I would say not for everybody. And I feel this is a bit more male leaning. All of these are unisex scents because Solstice Scents knows that you should just wear what you like. But I find this to be kind of strong and have some elements that are usually marketed to men. All right. In the incense kind of category, this is called Scrying Smoke. I think I have a few of the incenses. This smells a lot like Mass. I grew up Catholic, and I'm telling you, this does smell like when they walked around with, what is the word? You guys don't know I'm a sinner now. The thing that carried the incense. That's what this smells like to me. Whew, so interesting. Again, I don't find this wearable every day, but this is one that's great to layer with other things. It's so good that way. Another is, Russian Caravan. Also slightly smoky, but with tea. And all the things maybe in the trade that they would have in a caravan. Probably everything from food to perfume, you know. But I mostly get smoke and tea from Russian Caravan. It's so nice. Very interesting, artistic, I think. This is called Sirocco. And it's, for those of you who have experienced Tom Ford's, oh my God, it's one of my favorite scents. I can't remember it. It's been discontinued. Sahara Noir. Sirocco reminds me of it a lot. It is so freaking good. It's dry. It's the driest thing. It makes you go. It literally smells like sand, the desert, hot air, and somehow it's so freaking comforting to me. Oh, it's so nice. Sirocco. Okay. Two more that I love. One is, boy, I can almost see these. Oh, I have an oil of Solstice Kyphi, which I talked about already through the perfume. And then this is kind of different than a lot of the ones I own. And just to say, back to that whole different strokes or different focusing, it's not that I don't like green scents. I kind of started with these, but I'm really interested in getting to know their kind of green scents more. And one that's aquatic and green is called After the Rain. It comes in and out because, again, it's kind of a fan favorite. This is the closest thing I've ever smelled to like what it smells like right after the rain, but also with the wet, steamy ground. So is that word petrichor, I think, when the kind of steam and scent comes up from the hot ground when rain touches it? That is what you get in After the Rain. It's freaking incredible, and I can't wait to try more of their kind of spring or summer scents. Okay, I'm going to talk about three that I probably will deaccession. One is Lace Draped Scepter, and it's just because Specter, Cronauer, sorry. It's just because I love the perfume so much that I'll probably gift somebody I love with the oil. Black Forest is a fan favorite. I am not a big fan of chocolate. Who knows why, right? This is a wonderful, realistic chocolate with cherry. And this is another example of a lot of people love this thing. I mean, love it, love it, love it. One of their favorites. It's just, it's not me. I have too many others to wear. So, and then, okay. So again, based on different strokes for different folks. I know so many people that like freaking love this scent and do well with it on their skin. This is Smoky Mountain Mallow. I think it sells out every time it hits the website. It's kind of more winter scents with smoke. But okay, first of all, Angela St. John does smoke so well and in different degrees. There are a few perfumes on their site that are really, really strong in the smoke department. So strong that I swear I'm like, ooh, my eyes. Like, it is really, this is a strong smoky scent. Now, if I didn't have many other perfumes, I would probably just layer this with something, but I think somebody else will just love it so much more. I know that it's such a fan favorite. They'll probably either gift it or sell it. So That is the end of my Solstice Scents collection. So I think I have about, oh gosh, 30 some scents. I think they probably have 100 is my guess. So just wonderful house. Again, would love to hear from you as far as what your experience has been. Have you worn them? Do you enjoy them? And I will be reviewing some of my other kind of niche house collections in the future. So please tell me if there's a house you are curious about. I don't own everything, so I can't always review everything, but if I own it, I certainly will. So please let me know. I hope you are all doing so well as we kind of enter this, at least where I live, colder weather and get ready for the winter holidays. And I can't wait to talk soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.